We know that the master classes, you could only go to one for the most part, and they were not long enough. They are never long enough when you're talking about things like branding and thought leadership and designing your portfolio life. So we thought the way that we'd make sure we got all those great tips and advice in the room was to do a lightning round. Kind of think of this like EWAB TED Talks with our extended owls. So what we're going to do is just bring up 4 amazing individuals one at a time. We're going to start with Anouk Pappers, and then Tina Chang, Suleiman Ahmed, and then finish with Carolyn Buck-Luce. They're each going to share about 9 minutes of tips and advice for you. And we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're on to the next piece. So I'm going to get off the stage, and we'll get started with Anouk.
Okay, so imagine this. A boardroom, 11 seats, and 1 seat has just become available because Janet decided to step down as a board member. Now, everyone here is eligible to take that seat. So what can you do to increase the chances that it will actually be you sitting in that seat the next time they have a board meeting? Of course, we all know that the Nom/Gov committee is responsible for finding that board member. So they will start tapping into their networks, professional networks, sitting board members, CEOs. But the first thing they're going to do, they're going to ask around this table of remaining board members, do you know anyone who can replace Janet? So this means 60%, more or less, of all board seats are being filled by referrals, people who know people. So networking is your first and maybe biggest priority, your first assignment. Make sure that you're on the radar of existing board members, which you all are. Make sure that they know you're ready and willing and able to serve on the board. Networking, again, is the most important thing, your first assignment. Did I say networking already? That's where it all starts. So networking means connect and engage with people on LinkedIn, people you worked for or with in the past, sitting board members, everyone at EWAP, other networks that you're a part of. And make sure, again, that they know that you're looking for a board seat. Here it may be obvious, but if you don't tell people you're looking for a board seat, they won't know, so don't assume. And then when you're meeting in person, like a summit here, or when you're talking to people, make sure that they know who you are. This reminds me of a quote that's often used by Janice Alec, search professional, dear friend and strategic partner of ours. And she always says, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And that leads me to the second assignment. So we did our networking, and actually somebody here in that boardroom mentioned your name. We should look at Jennifer. She would be great on our board. So what's the Nom/Gov committee going to do next? They're going to ask, why Jennifer? And then you're going to say, well, she's really great, smart, very nice. That's not going to cut it. So that's why your second assignment is your story. You need to articulate who you are and what you bring to the table. And you need to share that story. So this is what we did in our masterclass yesterday. We talked about how do I build my story. And your story always starts with the me, my why. Why do I do what I do? How did I become this person? How did I become this curious world traveler, which would be me? How did you become that lifelong learner, that problem solver, or that eternal optimist? We need to understand what our passion and our drive is. And then the second part, and maybe this part of your story is the most important part, because it talks about who you are, and that's the part that makes you memorable. So once you define your why, or where you got your superpower, you go to the next step. And the next step is defining your credentials. What are the 3 things, not 2, 4, 5, 3 things, main things that people need to know about you? Again, you travel the world, you lived in all these countries, which gives you cultural understanding. You led a certain P&L, you open up offices in China, you bring a business background combined with financial acumen. Whatever that specific thing is that you bring to the table, that's what you need to share. That's what needs to be part of your story. And then again, having your story is one, but then you need to share it. So that when, again, that question comes from the Nom-Gov committee, you know what to say about Jennifer. Okay, third part. We did our networking and somebody talked about us in that boardroom. So now the Nom-Gov committee is going to Google you. They're going to see if your online presence reflects your board readiness. So this means you need to build an online presence that speaks about you in the right way. How are you positioned as a board member going forward? Don't talk too much about the accomplishments or the achievements that you had as an operator. We all know boards, it's about foresight and oversight. That's what we need to show. Create content, define your topics and stick to them. So don't come up with something else every time you publish. Come up with 2 or 3 topics and that's your sweet spot. And when we talk about online presence, don't forget video. People really like to see how you speak and how you come across. Because remember, the board, they come together 6 times a year and they also consider, would I like to go to dinner with her 6 times a year? And that video can really help creating that strong first impression. So we did our networking. Somebody talked about us, so we had our story and we shared it. And our online presence is up to speed. So now, the next step, and that's your 4th assignment, is take care of your board documents. Because now the Nom-Gov committee or the search firm, they're going to reach out to you, say, please send me your board documents because they've been talking about you, we checked you out, we would like to talk to you. So make sure your board documents are up to date. Use a cover letter that is, of course, adjusted to the specific situation or opportunity and send it in. And then you wait, and you wait. You wait a little bit longer, maybe even longer, can really take a very long time. But then, yes, you got an email. And you've been invited for that board interview, finally. So all your hard work paid off. You networked your way into the right people knowing you. You created your story and you shared it. You make sure that your online presence is current and relevant. And your board documents are up to date. So the 5th assignment is tackle that board interview. So prepare the interview and talk about your professional experiences and your leadership. But don't forget to mention your interpersonal skills and your cultural ad. The cultural ad, that part, again, that's where you have your story. So start the interview, the board interview, with your personal story. Again, my why. Why do I do what I do? How did I get here? Why am I the right candidate for that board seat? And then talk about your vision and your passion. And make sure you prepare that story. And then, of course, every interview is different. So adjust your story based on the conversation you have, based on the company you're applying to, the specific board seat, and even the person you're interviewing with. So recapping, I'm going to leave you with 5 assignments. Networking, networking, networking. That's already 3 assignments, but networking. Crucial, essential. So make sure everybody here connect and stay connected. And share your story so that everybody knows what it is that you bring to the table. That's the second part, your story. The third part, your online presence. Don't underestimate it. And you can use your assistant, your chief of staff to create it. But your online presence is essential in this world. Your board documents, make sure they're always up to date. And of course, be your best at that board interview. Thank you.